Hey everybody, it is time once again for the weekly Rahdo Recap, which as always folks means three things. First of all, I'm going to be telling you about all the videos that went up on the channel over the last week. Second of all, I'm going to be telling you about a bunch of videos that went up on other people's channels that I think are worth checking out. I certainly enjoyed them. And then third of all, I'm going to tell you about a bunch of new games that I found in my weekly searching through the Board Game Geek database for fun upcoming stuff. So, right now we are on the outskirts of Death Valley. We have left Northern and Central California and all of my relatives behind, and we're very, very excited. In a couple of days, we're going to be down in the LA area where, if all goes to plan, I'll be appearing live for the first time in almost a year on the weekly R&R show with Ruel. I'm going to be sitting down right next to him, and we're going to be streaming live. Although, what's even better is, rather than me appearing on my own show, we're going to have another special guest. I think I'm going to leave it as a surprise. Very, very cool. Very, very excited to have her on. But that's coming in the next few days. This is a show about looking backwards, not forwards. So let's go over what you may or may not have missed on the channel over the last week. Starting, as always, with exclusives for backers of the show, either here on YouTube as members, there's links for that down below, or up there, you can hit that I to go to the Patreon page if you want to know more about supporting the show. Although, folks, I can't make a really good sales pitch for supporting the show this week because I have no exclusive videos for you. Life on the road is tricky. Next week, I promise we will be back with a exclusive double feature, Relax and the Gen Jogs. But this month, well, actually, that's not true. There is one exclusive I could tell you about because in case you didn't know, folks, all the time we are uploading new run-throughs to the channel, and they generally stay unlisted for sometimes days, weeks, even months. And if you're a supporter of the show, you get to see those videos early and advertisement free. We don't turn on the YouTube ads until they go public for everybody. So you could be watching the run-through for Kutna Hora, the latest from Czech Games Edition, right now. It's been on the channel for a few days, but it won't actually go public for everybody to see until a few days from now. It'll be up maybe on Monday, I think. I think that's right. But anyway, Shay did a fantastic job, and that's exclusive right now, ad-free, if you want to check that out. But we'll have more exclusives next month, like always. But that's it for exclusives I can tell you about this week. But there's a bunch of really cool stuff for everybody to see, starting with my run-through of Aldebaran Duel, which is really interesting because it's from designer Vladimir Sushi, one of my absolute favorites, and he's really known for heavier, crunchy Euros. Ever since he started his own publishing label, Delicious Games, that's what he's been giving us for the last few years. But Aldebaran Duel flips the scripts and gets us back to more medium weight, lighter to medium weight sushi, like, you know, Last Will, some of his older titles, and it is fantastic. A really, really sharp, you know, a 3X style game of expanding your holdings in a science fiction future, well, sacrificing cards to play other cards. So it definitely has vibes. I mean, this could be Vladimir Sushi's Race for the Galaxy, quite frankly. And honestly, if you were to put both of them in front of me, I'd probably want to play this over Race for the Galaxy, which is blasphemy, I know, but it's very, very cool, and it's really nice to see Vladimir doing some more lightweight stuff for a change. But if you missed the heavyweight Vladimir, we had a double feature of Vladimir this week. How many times am I going to say Vladimir? A few more times, because I got to talk about Evacuation. That also went up on the channel this week, and this might be Vladimir's heaviest, most complex game to date. I mean, you know, its core is really simple, and it is a wonderful, didn't even think about this. This is two future science fiction-y games. In this one, we are trying to evacuate Earth, moving everything, and I mean everything, to a new planet. Dismantling one engine while building another is very, very cool, and Shay did a great job of showing off what makes it so great. And I can't wait to get back to Los Angeles, or down to Los Angeles, so I can get this back from him. He's got my copy, and I want to play it too, all the more now that I've seen Evacuation. So that was really cool. A 1-2 new feature this week of Aldebaran Duel and Evacuation, seeing both sides of design superstar, one of the all-time greats, Vladimir Sushi, and you can watch both those run-throughs right now. There are links for them down in the show notes, or if you wait until the end of this video, there will be a playlist that pops up for everything I'm talking about today. Okay, but let's move on because we had even more videos, folks. There's a new video on this channel every day of the week. You know that, right? You really should subscribe. Jen got on camera, a rare sighting of Jen in the wild as she and I did a cooperative playthrough of Firefighters on Duty, and this is a big deal. This is the sequel or the spiritual successor to Project Elite, which I looked it up is my number 17 highest ranked game of all time. And it always breaks my heart because as much as I love it, Jen often doesn't want to play it because it's full of scary, James Cameron xenomorph style aliens or, Geiger, style aliens. And that just doesn't really work as well for her. She enjoys it too, but they have now taken the gameplay of Project Elite and transported it to Earth for modern day firefighting. And it's fantastic. We really enjoyed it quite a bit. I can't believe this whole time I have not been rolling dice frantically trying to move around. There we are. As Jen, she's at the top of the screen, I'm at the bottom of the screen. We're having to work cooperatively to save lives and put out fires. And it's going to be launching next week. But oh man, we had so much fun filming this game here in the RV at the little dinette I am standing at. I mean, it's just a blast. I highly recommend it. Again, Project Elite is my number 17 highest ranked game of all time. And this is basically, taking that core idea and breathing a bunch of new life into it. So folks, you definitely want to check out Firefighters on Duty. What else did we cover this week? Oh, how about Bazaars of Ubar? I was really excited about this one ever since I heard about it because Glenn Moore, from designer Matthias Kramer, is one of my all-time favorites, highest rank tile laying games, and it's a really brilliant mix of engine building and time track stuff. Bazaars of Ubar is from a different designer, Tim Armstrong, who I gotta say, folks, is really rising in the ranks for me. Every time I play a new Tim Armstrong design, I am impressed, and that is certainly true for Bazaars of Ubar. And why did I just spend all that time talking about Glenn Moore? Because this is Tim Armstrong's take on the Glenn Moore system, set in a fantastical world where we are merchants flying around in sky ships, going from port to port, converting goods into other goods to sell for points. But the core gameplay is very similar to Glenn Moore, but Tim put some really cool new twists on it. The way that tiles activate other tiles. In Glenn Moore is a very simple, straightforward thing. Now it's much more complex and rich. The way that when I place a tile into my growing area of tiles, trade winds blow and will activate some other tiles that I've built, as I'm building this fleet of ships. I really like it quite a bit. Now, another thing that makes it stand out is Glenn Moore, again, one of the greatest tile layers of all time, but a heavy, crunchy game. Definitely not a good way to bring people into the board game hobby. But I can definitely say Bazaars of Ubar takes the spirit of Glenn Moore and turns it into a brilliant gateway game. If you have friends or loved ones who you've maybe been able to entice in with a Ticket to Ride or a Carcassonne or Splendor, especially a Splendor or a Century Spice Road, if you use those as gateways, this is a perfect next step to take them and show them, well, yeah, you've got the basic ideas. Let me show you something else that builds on that and can really surprise and delight. Really lovely game. Wonderful if you're looking for another gateway tile laying game that it just features some of, the smartest tile activation engine building around. That is Bazaars of Ubar. You can watch my run through for it right now. But wait, that's not all, folks, because I also did another rapid review. I just talked a little bit about how one single piece of cardboard turned my biggest disappointment of 2022, Marrakesh, into a top 10 game of 2022. And in this little rapid review, I tell you how that happened. It's just 2 minutes long, folks, but just a fun little, and for me, a very, very important thing. I cannot wait to try the new Marrakesh expansion. I've got it right here in the rig right now. Finally, one more thing that went up on the channel. Last week, we got Shelfside on. Rahdo runs through it. Long last, I've been wanting to get them on the channel for gosh, over a year now, and it finally happened. Ashton and Daniel sat down with Ruel and me and Chris to talk about our top 12 Ameritrash games. And it was really fun. Of course, each of us provides 3 of the games. The guys, they all kind of covered a lot of the classics of the genre. I mentioned 3 that none of them had ever heard of, but I think are absolutely amazing. And I should say, we do not use Ameritrash in a pejorative. For us, it's a loving term. It's an embrace of the fact that an Ameritrash game is all about trashing the place, trashing other players, trashing all the enemies you come across in big, bombastic, highly produced, thematic free-for-alls. And we've got the 12 best to talk about. And like I said, I only talked about 3 in the main R&R show, but if you watch the extended show, not only will you get to really get to know Ash and Daniel, because there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff in the pre and the post show, but also in the post show, I gave you a full top 10 as I talked about 7 more, and the other guys talked about some more as well. So the latest R&R is up, and like I said right up front, folks, next week's R&R, or I guess this week's R&R, coming up in a couple of days is going to be great, because I'm not going to be, pre-recorded. I'm going to be live in studio, and we're going to have another special guest. I cannot wait to introduce you to her. But anyway, in the meantime, this was a fantastic one last week. Really enjoyed it a lot. Okay, so that's it for what has appeared on the Rahdo Runs Through channel. Now, let's talk about some other channels. Slicker Drips. Have you heard of Tom Heath and Slicker Drips, folks? If you enjoy Rahdo run-throughs, you owe it to yourself to go check out Tom. He is the British version of me. He does a fantastic job, and this time he covered Cthulhu, Death May Die, which is a game I was really wanting to know more about myself. And as always, Tom did a phenomenal job running you through sample gameplay, really diving into what makes this game tick, and it was a lot of fun to watch. And I gotta say, over the years, Tom has really elevated his presentation game. At this point, I think he does a better job of presenting than me, doing my style, my format of run through. And so again, if you enjoy the Rahdo Runs Through channel, why haven't you subscribed to Slicker Drips? Might I suggest checking out Cthulhu Death May Die as a good starting off point. Good job, Tom. Alrighty, and let's see, what else did I find? Oh! Hungry Gamer is a channel I've been subscribed to for quite a while. Hungry Gamer here, he kind of focuses on hybrid games. That's really his jam. Not really hardcore Ameritrash, like I was just talking about, but also not hardcore, heavy abstract-ish Euros. He kind of lives in the medium realm, and he is, I think, the first Game of the Year video I've seen going up. And now we're just coming in November. We're going to see a lot more of these in November and December. His was the first one to go up. He's talking about his nominees for Best Game and Best Expansions of the Year. And it was great. And I think it's worth watching because, again, his focus is a little bit different on mine, and he talked about some games I knew almost nothing about and really made strong arguments for why they deserve to be held in such high esteem. So I highly recommend it. I highly recommend his channel just in general, The Hungry Gamer. Good stuff. And you can check out his nominees right now. Okay. Then, was it next? Is James Hudson? Yes. James Hudson is a former board game media personality who basically became a board game designer and publisher. You can see some of his games there. Wonderland's War, maybe you've heard of it. Tidal Blades. He's had some huge successes. But he also still does board game media from time to time. And I hadn't seen him on YouTube for a while, but he did a video log talking, the topic, why does Cool Mini or Not still use Kickstarter? And now this is not just about Cool Mini or Not. This is about Kickstarter and its impact on the industry as a whole. And I think it is a very important video that does a really great job pulling back the layers and giving you the perspective of Kickstarter and its GameFound and BackerKit and just crowdfunding in general, and how incredibly important it is to the overall ecosystem of board game development, and why does such a big, huge, successful board game company like Cool Mini or Not, although you could slot lots of other companies in as well, still use crowdfunding. A lot of people dismiss it out of hand and say, oh, it's just money grabbing, and there's no reason reason for it, and there are reasons. And James is a bit of an expert in the area, and he does a phenomenal job of walking through why, and just gives you a better understanding of just how important and how much crowdfunding is improving the overall quality of games we get to play. And he just uses Cool Mini or Not as an example case because he was responding to a thread he found on Facebook. So, you know, he saw a lot of people critiquing companies using Kickstarter, and he answers every one of them with an air of authority. He is an expert, and it's a great video. Wonderful job, James. Okay, but we're still not done, folks. I found other videos, so many videos. Hey, Jeremy, it's Jeremy Howard. He did another solo chat on the Man vs. Meeple channel, and he's back from what do you call it, Essen Spiel. He actually went over there, talks a bit about that, but more importantly, he came back with a couple of Essen Spiel hotness games that everybody was super excited about, and it turns out he wasn't. And he was a little disappointed. So he gives a couple of mini reviews. One of the games I ranked very highly, and so now you can hear the other side of why Jeremy thought, well, maybe it doesn't live up to the hype. And his video is just valuable anyway because it is a great cautionary tale about not falling for the hype and doing your own research. In my case, folks, forget my final thoughts videos and Shay's and Kimberly's and everybody else's. Watch the run through, decide for yourself if it looks like fun. But Jeremy has some more tips about, you know, dealing with hype deflated, I believe is what he called this. Yeah, messing with Essen, Jin, and Evenfall, hype deflated. Those were big games, ones I was very excited about. And like I said, Jeremy brings a whole nother point of view to the table, and it's a fantastic video. I always enjoy watching him go. So you'll want to check that one out, and I'm still not done. Okay, oh man, Our Family Plays Games. They had like 4 game video demo run-throughs up this week. They were all fantastic. I could have highlighted any of them, but I'm going to talk about Reggie's. He covered Colossi, and I think I was most interested in that because that was the game I knew the least about. And man, it's a beautiful game, and Reggie does a fantastic job summarizing very quickly, very elegantly, and eloquently. And really good presentation, exactly what makes this game tick. So, I mean, if you are interested in games that are on crowdfunding platforms, Our Family Plays Game, last week they did a phenomenal job talking about 4 really good games. Colossi is one of them, and once you're there, hey, just click on Our Family Plays Games and you can watch the other ones. Great job, Reggie, covering Colossi. It was one I had actually hoped we would cover on the Rahdo Runs Through channel, but the timing didn't work out, but I was still interested in seeing it in action, and it looks pretty cool. Okay. 2 more videos. Who's up next? It is Amy and Maggie. Man, every time they put up a video, I have to stifle my urge to feature them every single week because I just love what they do. But they are back. Oops, I do not have the title of the video on screen. I thought I fixed all of them. I am just now going to very quickly do some live editing. Nothing could possibly go wrong while I'm filming, right? This isn't going to break anything if I refresh. And now we have the name of the video. It is coming someday. There we go. 10 out of 10, part 16, the We Bought Too Many Games at Essen Spiel episode. Here's the deal. Amy and Maggie are on a mission. They are going to, in this video series, rank, or give a numerical ranking to every single game in their collection. They have a lot of games in their collection. And as they talk about in this very video, it's an impossible mission because more games are coming in than going out all the time. But every time, this is just a really wonderful, fast, both of them often giving different point of views because that's their shtick. Amy is the thinker, Maggie is the themer. And between the two of them, you get such a well-rounded view. They do an amazing job, and they're talking about 10 games they brought back from Essen Spiel. Some worked for them, some did not. And as always, they do a wonderful job, and you can't ever go wrong when you check them out. And, oh, everything's falling apart. Come on, just hold it together. We're almost through this section. I've only got one more to talk about. And, hey, it's the Brothers Murph. I'm sure you're aware of the Brothers Murph. They've got a very successful, one of the fastest growing channels out there. But did you know the Brothers Murph also regularly do video segments for the Board Game Geek YouTube channel? I thought that was worth pointing out because I subscribe both to the Brothers Murph and Board Game Geek, and I'm always seeing them in both places. And this week, or last week, they did a top 10 favorite things about the hobby. And I gotta say, it just puts such a smile on my face to see a how long is this video? This video is 14.5 minutes long, just nonstop positivity, espousing all the best things about our hobby and why it's great to be excited about board gaming. And it was just really, really kind of uplifting. And so it lifted my spirits. I want to lift your spirits too. The Brothers Murph and their 10 favorite things about the board game hobby on the Board Game Geek YouTube channel, not on their channel. Phew. Okay, folks, that's it. A bunch of new videos, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 new games to talk about. Let's get right to it before I spoil the Brother Murph's entire top 10 countdown. First of all, this is the one I'm most excited about, City of the Living. Although I'm also frustrated, not at the game, but at Board Game Geek. As much as I love Board Game Geek, this is one of the things that drives me most nuts. This is a remake of a game that came out, gosh, probably almost a decade ago. It was designed by Reiner Knizia teaming up with Sebastian Bleasdale, who is the co-designer on Keyflower, one of my 10 favorite games of all time. And of course, you know who Reiner Knizia is. And I played and covered Prosperity all those years ago, back in, what was it, 2013. And I thought it was great. I had a couple of problems with it. A new publisher has picked it up. Trick or Treat Studios have picked it up from Mistari Games. They've rethemed it. So it's no longer about, building a sustainable future. That's one of the things I loved about Prosperity. Back in 2013, nobody else was covering this subject matter. Nowadays, we see lots of games coming out about, green future and, sustainable energy and keeping pollution down. I mean, there's like 2 or 3 games a month, but this was way ahead of the curve back in 2013, and I really liked it a lot. Of course I would. It's such an amazing design team-up. I had a couple problems with it, mostly to do with the production of it, and I'm hoping this new version, because it's been picked up, it's been rethemed to be a zombie survival game of all things, although trying to save humanity from, our imminent doom, by pursuing a green future, I can certainly see overlap between trying to survive a zombie apocalypse and trying to get to a better future as well. So I can see how the themes overlap. But anyway, it's now called City of the Living. And the thing that drives me nuts is it didn't get its own entry. If you actually go to City of the Living on Board Game Geek, you'll see a whole bunch of pictures of Prosperity. And you'll see a long description of the setting and gameplay of Prosperity. And that's just got to be so confusing. People are looking at, hey, is this a game about zombies? Then why is it all about energy production and ecology and research and money and all this stuff? Board Game Geek, you're being silly. Come on. It's a new game. Even if it has the same mechanisms, anybody's going to think this is a new game. But regardless, I love Prosperity, so I'm super excited to see the game come back, especially, fingers crossed, if this new version does a couple of very simple things that could fix my problems with Prosperity. I would so love to get this to the table. I have to admit, I would have rather they kept the original, but you know what, heck, back in 2013, zombie games were all the rage, and it was weird to have a game about, trying to build a better future for humanity. Now it's kind of flipped. We see very few zombie games these days, and we see a lot of games about green futures. So I think there's kind of a fun, symmetry to it. But anyway, very excited. Cannot wait to learn more about, City of the Living. Oh, whoops. That doesn't fit the screen at all. I meant to flip over to this. There we go. Does that fit a little bit better? Oh, I thought I'd set this up better, but I have clearly failed in every way, folks. It is hard filming on the road. You understand. But anyway, let's just continue on. You'll forgive me. Next game I want to talk about, Isle of Cats Treasure Pack. I think in the last recap, I mentioned there's a new expansion coming for Isle of Cats Explore and Draw, the greatest tile-laying, or one of the greatest tile-laying and roll and write games of all time. Well, it's its big brother, Isle of Cats, is getting expansion too. A whole pack of new you pull out the treasures from the original game and you put these new treasures in that if you can get the cats, you get them and get the cats next to them, they unlock a whole bunch of new special powers. So Isle of Cats is still awesome, and it's getting even awesomer with that particular expansion. Then we've got Dogville. Keep your pack of dogs active with careers and activities. Their joy is your success. It's a self-published game from a first-time designer, I think. I don't really know much about it. There's no art, but hey, if this is a game about dog rescues, and this game really seems to focus on the the features of all the different breeds of dogs and how you can try to make a good pack of dogs. And it also focuses on dogs, to be happy and have well-rounded lives, doggy lives. They need a sense of responsibility, jobs they can do. And so I'm really intrigued by the subject matter. And the game promises 50 unique purebreds and mutts, each with custom breed-specific traits. So that pulls me in right there. I don't know much about the game. It's there's really not that much said here, but the subject matter pulls me in. I think it's a nice contrast to Isle of Cats. Well, hey, what compares to that? How about Dogville? Then there's, oh man, I haven't seen anybody else talk about this. The Crew is coming back. We had the Crew, Quest for Planet 9. Then we had the Crew, Undersea or Deep Sea, when they went underwater. Now it's the Crew Family, where it's a Swiss Family Robinson style setting where we are trapped on a deserted island playing the same crew, cooperative, imperfect communication, trick-taking system, but brought to a whole new setting, and I am super excited. The other crews were phenomenal. And, the second one, the undersea one, improved on the first one, the deep space exploration one. So I expect, hey, hopefully history repeats itself and this one becomes the best of the bunch. I have to admit, it's certainly a very attractive subject matter. Literally Swiss Family Robinson style setting, a family trying to survive. I'm really intrigued. Cannot wait to know more. There's not much here yet, no pictures, but you heard it here first, folks. In 2024, the Crew is back, baby, and hopefully it'll be the best one yet. Okay, then what have we got? Oh, we've got How to Save a World. I'm excited because, hey, Burnt Island Game puts out a new game. I'm excited about it. And this one sounds very, very interesting. It's a sci-fi setting where there's an asteroid approaching a heavily populated planet, and players, through worker placement, are trying to save this planet. And there are 3 different plans. There is build a laser and blow the asteroid up. Build a shield that will protect the planet from the asteroid, or evacuate. If those other plans don't work, get as much flora and fauna saved from this verdant, lovely world, this alien world. And players really focus. Am I going to focus on this or that or the other? And that's pretty much all we have right now. But that's really good subject matter. 3 different ways to score points, represented thematically by these 3 different ways to solve this big catastrophe. Sounds really, really cool. And again, Burnt Island Games, they have not gone wrong yet so far. So again, this is a 2025 game, so I'm breaking the news way early. I'm sure we'll see crowdfunding for it probably in early 2024. Hey, Burnt Island Games, call me. I'd like to cover this. I am a big fan, as you know, and I can't wait to see How to Save a World. The last one I'm going to talk about today, folks, is Metro Runner. This one is from Stephen Kerr. Oh, but I don't know Stephen Kerr, but I do know Thunderworks Games. Everybody loves cartographers, but for me, it's all about role player. And hey, they're leaving the role player universe behind for once. They're going into Blade Runner cyberspace. What do you call it? Netrunner, Neuromancer. Future hacker type stuff. And that's really cool. That's a brave new world for them. There's another nice sci-fi reference, and it promises rondel gameplay, and I love a good rondel, especially if it does something new and cool and interesting. I expect they will, because Thunderworks generally does very, very good designs as well, and so I'm excited to see what that is all about. And that's it, folks. Okay, it seems like the wind has died down. I did not get much sleep last night because there were 50-mile-an-hour gusts. The whole thing felt like it was going to fall over. But regardless, folks, right there, boom, is the playlist. Over here, boom, is the subscribe and the Patreon stuff. So you can go check out other links because honey, has the wind changed? We literally have been having to, lean into it. And so I got to check what the situation is, folks. But anyway, see you next week for the next recap. Bye-bye.